Hi, Andy Ron here with Montana Land Source. It is December 6, 2023, and this is a brief video summary of the weekly Montana Land Report that we put out every Wednesday via email at Montana Land Source, outlining the current market activity in the Montana land market. Thanks everybody for watching. Typical volume this week, 22 property updates. This week has been defined by pending sales and sales rather than new listings entering the market. So 2 total new listings, 4 price reductions, 2 properties back on the market, 8 pending sales, which is fairly high, and 6 sales. Overall volume is dropping, getting down around the 350 mark. We've been around 370 or so for months. Not untypical for this time of year. In fact, this time last year reached the lowest volume I have ever seen since I've been tracking. We got below 300 listings in December of 2022. I expect that we're going to drop down maybe close to that this year as well. Not untypical seasonally for that to happen. Sometimes at the end of the year, however, we do see a bump in listings for various reasons. Sometimes there's potential estate tax policies that people are concerned about changing in the upcoming year during an election year with a regime change. That can spur people to feel the need to market property, that kind of stuff. There's nothing like that on the horizon this year. Another interesting side note, though, however, is talking to people in the cattle industry. There's a record number of dispersal sales in the, eastern Montana, northern Wyoming region this year. That's where whole herds are being sold off. One might think that when there's a dispersion sale, perhaps that the ranch will be sold as well, although that's not necessarily automatically the case. Sometimes people retire and sell off their herd, but continue to own the place and lease it out, that kind of stuff. And when I say record number of dispersal sales, I think we're knocking on 20 dispersal sales, where average is more like 4 or 5 within a given year. So even at that volume, even if 20 ranches were hitting the market because of dispersal sales, that's not enough to significantly bump the land inventory in Montana. In other news, we had a auction over the past week. The auction was here in Billings. The property is in north central Montana, just south of Rygate. It was pretty much a pure dry cropland sale, dry hay land sale. The buildings on it weren't worth anything, so kind of a pure sale there. And it came in, excuse me, at only $581 an acre with the buyer commission tacked on. And most reactions to that sale is surprise at how low that is. In general, Montana is a large area and values vary across the state, but closer to $1,000 an acre is what one might expect for dry cropland. However, that area is not highly productive cropland in general. It's basically a section of the Musselshell River Valley, which is very aesthetic and a beautiful area, but it's not a high amenity area. There's not elk consistently in that area. The Musselshell River, the stretch there, is not trout fishery. That area doesn't adjoin or isn't in proximity to any high value amenities like ski resorts or high demand communities like Bozeman or Whitefish, that kind of thing. So it's a little bit of an outlying area. But I think what that sale shows, and of course you have to be careful to put too much weight on any one sale, and an auction to boot. Land auctions are not common in Montana, not at all like they are in the Midwest. They're relatively rare out here. And their performance is highly mixed, and as often as not, it seems like they don't result in necessarily higher sales. Of course, that's the goal of an auction, is to create a bidding war, that kind of thing, to try to reach a maximum price. That property only had 2 bidders. The buyer was the adjoining neighbor. That property also had a little bit of physical access issues, a narrow bridge that would need to be crossed to get heavy equipment, farming equipment to that piece, so that might have played in as well. But I think what that sale does indicate, we're seeing a bifurcation in the market. There still is a lot of demand out there. There still is a lot of money, but that demand is really focused on high amenity properties, truly high production ag properties and properties around, again, the high amenity areas like Bozeman and Whitefish, that kind of thing. I think the rest of the market, if that's the way to say it, is what's diminishing. We've seen statistically flatline values, I would say, over 2023. But again, that varies. We've also seen some record-breaking high sales at the same time, so it's hard to generalize about the market across the whole. But what I'm saying is I think that the top of the market is doing just fine, which is not that untypical. And the rest of the market, if that's what we'd call it, trailing from there, is being impacted. Less than the uber ideal lands are seeing reductions in value. This was a 1,600 acre piece, which is relatively large, but I think the statistics are influenced by smaller acreage properties, which are more susceptible to influence by the interest rate environment, which is high. So that's dragging down certainly volume of transactions, but also market values as well. So I think it's a bit of a wake-up call that land in Montana is not universally on the rise like it's been the last 3 years. I keep calling it a correction period, a correction market, and part of that correction, I believe, is that the less than A and A plus properties are seeing impacts in terms of decreased demand and market values. So that is the report for this week. As far as upcoming events, the next one on the calendar is the Winter Real Estate Roundup in Bozeman in early February. That is an event that I'm involved in as president of the local chapter, the state chapter of the ASFMRA, and I'm also part of the For Land's Sakes presentation, which is an annual presentation put on by top appraisers where we share our data, and it's really the one time a year where we kind of open up our database and give an update on the market. So that's a really high value event. Continuing ed credits are available for appraisers as well as real estate brokers and agents, and we're really working to make that event the premier land market event of the year, early February in Bozeman. So check that out on the calendar at mtlandsource.com, as well as other news and events and updates on the local Montana land market. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a safe and prosperous week.